Welcome to today's webcast, Sustainable Minds Transparency Products, introducing our newest transparency product, the Performance Fact Sheet. The broad stroke overview of what we're going to talk about today is the challenges manufacturers face creating disclosures and delivering those disclosures to stakeholders to enable them to make decisions, and how our transparency products support manufacturers in getting that done. By way of introduction, Sustainable Minds is a software company. We've always had our software products in the cloud. We were the first to bring an LCA and eco-design software tool for product manufacturers to the marketplace in 2010 to help manufacturers design greener products. And with the advent of product transparency and LEED version 4 in the 2012-2013 timeframe, we saw the opportunity to take what we knew how to do, which is make cloud-based, understandable software tools to support decision-making, and bring that thinking to helping manufacturers market greener products. We think of it as a continuous improvement loop. If they're designing greener products, they should be able to market those greener products using credible and technical data. And from having that credible and technical data, they should be able to drive that back into their product design and development processes to drive this continuous improvement. So Sustainable Minds is a mission-based company. We're a for-profit mission-based company. And our mission is to operationalize environmental performance into mainstream product development and manufacturing in a credible and understandable way. So when we decided to get into helping manufacturers market their greener and also healthier products, we became a program operator so that we could create a program that enabled the market to create product category rules and Type 3 environmental declarations that were simpler and more standardized, and ultimately to kind of make it possible for the industry to see a path forward to get on the same page, so that ultimately product transparency in its most successful state is something that just is part of the way manufacturers make and market products. It's part of the way their customers make purchase decisions, and ultimately in the building products industry, the ultimate goal is to build actually greener and healthier buildings, which is kind of what it's all about. But it starts really at this very granular level of managing data to make products, putting the data out there to market products. And if we can streamline it all along the way and get everybody involved in the system to kind of think about it the same way, then I think we have a shot at being successful. And by the way, that's why we named the company Sustainable Minds, which might seem to be an odd name for a software company, but you have to get people to think the same way before you can get them to act the same way, which is why we named the company Sustainable Minds. I want to thank folks who don't know us, who have attended this webcast as their very first one. Let me introduce myself. I'm Terry Swack, and I'm the founder and CEO of Sustainable Minds. I'm very proud to tell you this story. Part of the scalability is to not only deliver solutions that make the information understandable and accessible, but to engage all of the participants in the process. And so our tools are designed to help LCA providers deliver better and more useful results from their LCAs, as well as for verifiers and certifiers to have more more products and solutions to verify. So we look to collaborate with all of those kinds of providers. And in fact, last year, we became one of the founding members of a new consortium, the Program Operator Consortium. And if you haven't been to our website, the URL is programoperators.org. And I want to quickly show you the website, because there's a couple tools there that you'll be interested in checking out. Specifically, this PCR catalog, which is now the very first catalog of all North American PCRs. So if you're in an industry and you're wondering if there's a PCR already available for your products, you can go right here and see if there's a PCR. There's a link right to it. You can see who the program operator is. You can see that it's organized by the master format divisions. And you can see that there's a whole bunch of them that are expiring or have already expired this year. We as a consortium are offering to manufacturers in all industries a standardized way to create PCRs at the product group level in a consistent and standardized way that's streamlined and much more rapid than the traditional way, and to offer an alternative to creating addenda to European PCRs. Rather than doing that in the same time frame with more transparency and stakeholder involvement, you can be creating PCRs for product groups that are North American PCRs. The other thing we've done is created the Corollary EPD and Transparency Report catalog. And so this is the first instantiation. It's just phase one. This is all the EPDs and transparency reports, again, organized by CSI Master Format Division from all of the current members of the consortium. And so the consortium will be growing, as will this catalog, so watch more for that. But what you can see is the manufacturer. Here's the link to the actual EPD. You see some attributes about it, the expiration date, whether it's industry average, so it's all right there at your fingertips. So watch for more from the Program Operator Consortium. We're pretty excited to continue to bring to the market simpler, standardized, and more useful solutions. So let's talk about these solutions that we're trying to simplify and standardize. They're also known as disclosures, and that's kind of been a word that has bugged me since I got involved in this space. You know, I can't really imagine how a manufacturer can get excited about producing disclosures, given what that word is synonymous with. And, you know, truth be told, disclosures really, the very first purpose is for the manufacturer to take that environmental information, understand where the impacts are in their product system across the life cycle, and use it to create improvements. But disclosures have become very popular now for the purposes of communicating environmental impacts and also material health. Yet, the very same disclosure document designed to help manufacturers understand where their impacts or where their hazardous ingredients are, those very same documents are being used to deliver to their stakeholders and prospective customers to make very different kinds of decisions. And so when we got involved in looking at the PCR EPD space, we went back to the standard ISO 14025, which is the standard that provides for how this process should work. And right in the introduction, it says, it's important to consider the information needs of different purchaser or user groups and to pay due attention to the level of awareness of that target audience, so those responsible for developing declarations and programs, pay due attention. And that ultimately the overall goal of a Type 3 environmental declaration is to encourage the demand for and supply of those products that cause less stress on the environment, thereby stimulating the potential for market-driven continuous environmental improvement. So the intent of the standard says, be careful how you explain stuff so that people who you want to understand it actually do understand it. And through that understanding, they should be preferring products from manufacturers who are making the effort to tell that story in a meaningful way. And therefore, the market will reward them by purchasing their products. That's what it says in the standard. But somehow, the creation of Type 3 environmental declarations and their programs has not really lived up to the spirit or the intent of the standard. We did a pretty significant research study of EPDs when we got into this space. And we looked at about 40 different EPDs from different programs around the world and different product categories. And our takeaways were, look, most of them are just too long. If they're short, they tend not to be EPDs. They're way too technical, too much detail in the LCA results. Regular users and architects, builders, contractors, people making decisions about products could not possibly understand what those LCA results mean. There's lots of other environmental data, again, as required by the PCR. So people are saying, yes, you have to report that data. But because it's a technical program, there's rarely very much useful product information, and certainly not much product marketing information about how that manufacturer's products are being received or used. They're obviously not comparable. That's a big problem with EPDs. And they don't tell improvement or sustainability stories for the most part. And they're actually not required to tell improvement or sustainability stories. The only requirement of a Type 3 environmental declaration is to report environmental impacts using LCA results. So not many folks really can take technical LCA data and turn it into meaningful information. And so the challenges for the customers of manufacturers are twofold. We just talked about they can't really understand them that well to make informed specification and purchase decisions, but they're also not easy to find. And we're going to spend some time looking at that problem today. Because if you go to most program operators' websites, their repositories of PDFs are not really that easy to search and navigate. And certainly all the manufacturers who have gotten EPDs for their products put them on their websites, but they're not really that easy to find or use in that context either. And that's what we're going to dig in today, because it turns out that here's an interesting statistic from the VenVO marketing folks. It's a current statistic that 84% of architects will research products on a manufacturer's website first. They don't go to aggregation sites. They don't go to program operator sites or technical program sites. They go to your website. And that's actually what a website is for. That's why manufacturers and businesses of every stripe have websites, so they can deliver content and experiences to users of a wide range to start building or engaging in a relationship. Manufacturers who have invested in product transparency are facing other kinds of challenges. Those who got started early And we applaud the early adopters who dug in and said, yes, I'm actually making greener products. I want to be transparent. I'm going to create disclosures using the tools that are available to me now. So now that the early adoption period is kind of over and we're into the more mainstreaming of product transparency, just having traditional disclosures is not the thing that's going to maintain the advantage that you had if you were first or early. Further, there's been the ongoing challenge of how do you leverage those disclosures into sales? And literally, connecting that big technical investment with purchasers making better decisions and more money coming to the business. Increasingly, the challenge of training salespeople to use them in the sales process. How do we distribute? How do they get distributed through sales to all the kinds of constituents? Lots of time gets spent responding to questions and inquiries and trying to deliver those things one at a time. Just a big challenge right now. And the bottom line is, manufacturers are challenged in supporting the AEC community in finding what they need to make better informed decisions. Almost without exception, today, in 2016, users coming to a manufacturer's website with the intent of finding those manufacturers' products with transparency information are finding information in 3 silos. They come to the website and they find the section that has product information. Then there's another section that has sustainability information. And generally within that sustainability section, there's a section about the disclosures that the manufacturer has invested in. And very often a page where the PDFs of all those disclosures are made available. But less frequently does a user find those silos of content to be interconnected, making it easy to find the product information that the disclosure is for, or finding a product and then finding the disclosure. And very infrequently can the user actually find the sustainability information about what the manufacturer is doing to improve the products, get a higher rating in a rating system. You really have to do a lot of clicking around. And so we have used a term for many, many years, this idea of an intentional user experience, meaning the creators of the website creating persona. You've probably all heard about the persona process of developing websites and digital products. So most manufacturers' websites did not identify the persona of the AEC professional coming to your website with the intent of finding products with transparency information so they can actually specify greener products, get credits in rating systems. But now that product transparency is more mainstream, that user is showing up with increasing regularity. And while that user may still be in the minority, manufacturers who have invested in product transparency, by virtue of that investment, have deemed that that type of user is important. So the lack of intentional user experience on the website for that type of user represents a lot of challenges in closing that loop between the user coming to your site, finding what they need, and you, the manufacturer, meeting your business objectives with that user. So I'm going to walk you through a real standard user experience audit. And this could be an audit of, again, over 90% of the building product manufacturer websites. I'm going to walk you through this, and then we're actually going to go to a manufacturer's website. It is not the website that we audited. It's not intended to pick on that manufacturer. It's just a way to drive the point home, because almost every manufacturer's website is like this. So it isn't like we're pointing the finger at this one. I'm just going to show you a live example so it puts a finer point on it experientially. But I'm going to walk you through the audit process first. So here, user experience audit looks at a user persona coming to a website with the intent to get something done. So introduce company X. They have 2 websites, or more than that, but in our case, they have a North American website. There's a global website. Manufacturer X has beautiful products, important brands, lots of sustainability and greener and healthier product stories, really doing things to improve their products and really putting their money where their mouth is. And to that end, they've acquired a lot of different types of disclosures. So we evaluated 2 scenarios. The user comes to Company X's website, 1, to find all the products with transparency information, because now, using LEAD as the example, if I'm the user and I want to get my product transparency credits, I've got to specify 20 products from 5 different manufacturers that are permanently installed that I can get this product transparency information for. So, make it easy for me to find all the stuff you have transparency information for. So you've narrowed my selection so I can focus on just the stuff I'm looking for. An alternative scenario is that user has a product in mind and is coming to the site to find that product and hope that it has transparency information. Or a modification of that scenario is, I've come to the site, I've found a disclosure that I think is for the product I want, and now I'm going to actually go try to find that product that the disclosure is for. So the results are not different in most websites. They've not been designed with an intentional user experience or with this user in mind. And that's not surprising, and it's not even a criticism or intended to be one. We're still so new in the product transparency world that even manufacturers who have newer websites, this type of user just wasn't important enough to kind of factor into the strategy. And so as product transparency disclosures and other things have become important, these websites have had to accommodate disclosures or be adapted to include them, without a real strategic plan for it. So really just kind of putting them in where they can find the right place to put them, and typically not from a user's experience. So, the user will come to the site. There's typically 2 to 3 obvious paths from the front page or the navigation. And really there has been no great way, and in this case, no way for Company X's flooring products to be easily found, the ones with transparency info. It wasn't hard to find the disclosures, but it was not possible to connect those disclosures to the products that they were for. And this is one of the big kind of aha moments in just evaluating so many websites, is that these disclosures are getting posted on pages of with PDFs, but people aren't looking for disclosures. They're looking for products that have disclosures. And it's an important distinction. So, these are some of the just user experience things that get found not just on this website and this audit, but consistently. Links to disclosures from product pages go to the disclosure page, but not to the actual disclosure. leaving the user having to pick from that list which one actually goes with the product that I'm looking for, which is often a challenge because the disclosure names and the product names are not always the same. And that happens because many of the disclosures are created to comprise disclosure information for multiple products. So it's difficult to name the disclosure the name for all the products. And if I start in the EPD download list, I'm only downloading the PDF. It doesn't actually connect me back. So I can go to the product info and get sent to downloads with no specific link. Sometimes there is a specific link, but I can't find it in the same place in the product pages. When I get to that list, oftentimes I'll find that the manufacturer has posted both the full EPD and a brief, and sometimes those disclosures get listed alphabetically. So in the list, it's organized by B and T, not the product name. And even further, when you're looking at North American versus international sites, the way those products are grouped, they're not grouped the same way on the disclosure pages, for example. Product naming is inconsistent. Company-specific acronyms are often used and therefore not really understandable to regular users. And then finally, all of these companies have great stories about their commitment to transparency, what they're actually doing to improving their products, but the user never encounters that information when trying to connect products with disclosures. So it's two legs of the three-part stool, because we believe that product transparency absolutely builds credibly greener brands, but not just by producing disclosures. The value for manufacturers to provide environmental information about their products comes from demonstrating they understand what it means and they know what they're doing. So that critical piece, those sustainability stories, those choices and trade-offs about chemicals, ingredients, sourcing, everything that they're doing, is a critical component of differentiating products from your company to products from any other company who also happens to have disclosures. Because making greener and healthier purchase decisions requires understandable and meaningful information. And if they get that, you're building trust with your prospects. Trust builds powerful brands, and powerful brands create preference and value for their companies. So to that end, we've created our transparency product family. And I'm going to go through the products in that family because our new product is the Performance Fact Sheet. But our product family of transparency products are next generation marketing tools that turn disclosure into brand value by integrating product transparency with product marketing expressly to inform greener and healthier purchase decisions. So we're combining product sustainability efforts into one integrated format to make it understandable and meaningful for non-technical readers. We're providing the value add of integrated explanation and improvement that disclosures don't report. And we're bringing them to market in a credible, cost-effective, and standardized way that ultimately is going to make it easier for your salespeople to use to meet that objective of selling more products. And we're delivering our transparency products in what we call our brand showroom, which is integrated into your website, so it's all findable in all one place to build a credibly greener brand. So we got 3 transparency products, and there will be more as the industry continues to evolve and different kinds of disclosures get developed. Again, we're trying to differentiate between that technical disclosure that really the intent is for manufacturers to take it and drive that information back into their product development processes, and not necessarily use them as customer-facing documents. Let's actually think about how a customer needs to consume information. How do you make it easy for them to find it and use it? So we've got 3 transparency products: our transparency report, the material health overview, and now the performance fact sheet. So our transparency report was first. It is a Type 3 environmental declaration, so it is our brand of EPD. And after the audit that we did of all those EPDs, we said, look, nobody has time to read all that stuff. In fact, nobody even wants to read more than 1 page. So there are requirements for content to actually have a document meet the requirements of a Type 3 environmental declaration. So we said, all right, we're going to do it in 3 pages, and everything somebody's going to need to know to make a purchase decision is going to be on page 1. So page 1 has an image of the product, a description. Usually there's a technical image or a close-up. And here we have this performance dashboard. And don't worry, I'm going to show you a live transparency report. But you've got all the features and functionality, the environmental performance information, all of the information you need about verification, scope, who's done the verification. But it's all in 3 pages. The next page has very simple LCA results and interpretation. What do the impacts mean? Here the manufacturer can start talking about programs that they're implementing to make those kinds of improvements. And here on page 3, which is actually optional, is where the manufacturer can tell stories through pictures and text. Toto happens to like infographics, but it can be any combination of pictures and text of what they're actually doing in any or all of those life cycle stages to create environmental performance improvements. And we try to tie these stories back into the telling of the LCA results stories. So it's all there in 3 neat packages in the cloud with links to lots of places like the manufacturer's website, other certification and ratings websites, other content in the manufacturer's own website that talks even more about their sustainability stories, what they're doing to improve. And the user can read as much or as little as they like. Now, the material health overview is our second transparency product. All our transparency products are based on page 1 of the transparency report. Everything somebody needs to make a purchase decision is all right there. Pictures, descriptions, functional performance, environmental performance, links into the disclosures and rating systems. But the material health overview was designed to standardize material evaluation reporting independent of the program the manufacturer is choosing to use to report. Because at the end of the day, what a user wants is just a bunch of quick answers. What's the product made of? Are there any ingredients I should care about or be concerned about? If yes, how bad are they? And by the way, what's the company doing to improve? And I really only want to know that as quickly as possible and know that you're telling me a credible story that's backed up by data and what you're actually doing to improve. And so we've done 4 versions of the material health overview. It's all a standard format. Anytime another version for a new kind of reporting, new material ingredient disclosure comes out, it's really easy to create another standardized format. It just, again, it introduces the program that's being used. How does it work? This is what's unique about each version. It actually displays the technical results and puts it in context and links to the actual disclosures. But here's the interesting part. On the right-hand side is where the manufacturer gets to write interpretation of what does this mean? What do these results mean? What are we doing to improve our products? How are we making choices about ingredients? Is there anything you should be concerned about? And let me tell you what our goals are going forward. By the way, transparency reports, all of our transparency products, they're all cloud-based. They all have links to contact the manufacturer. Again, it's an online marketing tool. So no matter how a user arrives at it, they should be able to get in touch with the manufacturer. The material health overview is designed to accommodate disclosing products at the product level, at the product group level, because lots of times disclosures are done for product groups because they contain similar ingredients. And they're also designed to disclose the technical results of any number of programs that the manufacturer has chosen to provide disclosure information for. So it's not uncommon to find both HPDs and declare labels for the same product or product group, but now the manufacturer has another set of challenges if they're going to disclose multiple sets of results. So here, for example, you can see in this material health overview, Ecos, the manufacturer, is showing that for their concrete sealer, there is some small amount of ingredient that has shown up as a list translator 1 ingredient, but it's also a red list free. They got a red list free declare label. So how does that jive? Okay, there's some potentially hazardous ingredients, yet it's red list free. So now the manufacturer can actually talk about what's in the products and why, and be able to explain how the ingredients that might show up as a benchmark 1 ingredient are not on the red list, and how in their products they don't present an exposure concern. So now let me introduce the performance fact sheet. And this product was created expressly for manufacturers who have been early adopters, who have gone out of their way early on to be transparent. So they maybe have HPDs, they maybe have one or more types of material ingredient disclosures, and they have that challenge that we talked about earlier, the 3 silos: product information, sustainability information, and disclosures. So without spending a whole lot more money or time, because they've already invested a lot of money and time, how does it become possible to put those 3 things together all on one page? And that's what the performance fact sheet is for, to leverage those current investments, bring them to the cloud, and tell that set of integrated stories. And I'm going to jump out to an example. And this is just a PDF. This is not a live example. But again, you can see the performance fact sheet is based on page 1 of the transparency report. Here in the certifications and rating systems, it links to any certificates, green product certificates that the manufacturer might have, links into the website to the actual product pages. These link to the websites of the rating systems or the organizations that confer those certificates. And now, this is the important part, we're only disclosing the key attributes of each of those disclosures. So this is kind of like the Chinese menu of the potential disclosures. There's environmental performance disclosures, so EPDs. The manufacturer might actually have a carbon footprint that's a separate report, a water footprint. These things are becoming increasingly more important. In the material ingredient side, they might have a cradle to cradle, they might have declare, they might have HPDs, they might have done a manufacturer's inventory. We've just added a slot for level. And then, most importantly, the manufacturer can start to tell their stories about how they're making products greener or how they're making products healthier. You know, this zone can have images or text, but the intent is to link into the manufacturer's website. There could be multiple links there to get the user into those stories to support what these disclosures are conveying at a high level. And finally, in the footer is the value in the rating systems that the product and these disclosures can earn the user. And so for the manufacturer, you just end up using the part of the attributes table that you have disclosures for. We don't use the whole table and show that you don't have certain disclosures. It's just a simple way of rolling up. These are links to the actual disclosures, some key attributes, expiration dates, and now it's all findable all in one place. And again, if this is what we're showing here, this performance fact sheet and the material health overview was at the product group level, so for all their air purifying products, and here are the individual products, which might actually have individual disclosures, or they might have all one disclosure for each product, but you can link to those individual disclosures. And you don't have to have had EPDs too. You can use the performance fact sheet just for showing the disclosures, the material ingredient disclosures. The big difference between the material health overview and the performance fact sheet is you're not writing interpretation. You're not providing the interpretation of what the disclosures mean. You're providing access to the disclosures. You're talking about what you're doing to improve and linking to those products. And if, as a manufacturer, you do have meaningful stories to tell about the interpretation of the results, how your products really are healthier or safer based on new technologies, ingredients that you're replacing. Material health overview is going to be a very powerful tool to market and tell that story. But when you have, again, it was designed expressly for the early adopters who've done everything. EPDs, material disclosures, let's just get it all in one place. Let's use content you already have, and let's make it findable, again, all in one place. So in your brand showroom is where it's findable, all in one place. And I'm going to show you how that integrates into your website, because we're designing it with the user's experience in mind. So I'm going to go back to my web demo, and I'm going to go to the ECOS website. And very quick story about ECOS. Amazing company, beautiful products, and part of their brand, and a key part of their brand, is they like to show people interacting with their paints and coatings to just reinforce how safe they are. And so this website was designed largely for consumers to come to the website and shop for products and be able to find products and purchase online. But ECOS has many, many commercial projects and business customers that the website was not really designed to accommodate. And so this is I thought, a really unique and interesting way of using the brand showroom, which was to actually create and add the word professional to the navigation of their site, create a landing page, and this is important. This landing page is important for SEO and just getting people to the brand showroom and talking about their commitment to transparency and the types of disclosures that they use. And then it links people to their brand showroom, which is designed using the visual language of that brand. And now all of the transparency products are, again, designed using the visual language of that brand. Colors, imagery, and while it is a very templated, streamlined process for creation, which I'm not going to review in this call, we have a very structured, streamlined process. There's enough flexibility and variability in the content that the manufacturer wants to use to make each of these showrooms and each of these transparency products unique and branded for that customer's brand. One of the things that we do in the scoping process with the manufacturer is to look at how the manufacturer groups its products, looking at product groups and product families, what's going to be the way that their product section is organized, or what's the way that users coming to the site are going to be looking for their products. So that creates the structure of the showroom and also starts to indicate which transparency products they might want to use, whether it's a performance fact sheet or a material health overview. And again, the problem that we're solving is this one, is how do you make it possible for people coming to your website to find all your products with transparency information in a delivering an intentional user experience, demonstrating that you are expecting those people because you care about doing business with them. And transparency products, whether it's the transparency report, the material health overview, or the performance fact sheet, are all designed to use, reuse, and link to content that you have already created so that you're just delivering it all in one place. Although you may be wanting to create some new information, like the interpretation stories, simply because you haven't had an opportunity to create that information or deliver it anywhere. So let's take a quick look at the value proposition of transparency products. So, we've got the ingredients, we understand the components, product information, sustainability information, disclosure information, and we've got the recipe. How does it all go together to communicate effectively to build a greener and healthier brand? So for any value proposition, you have to be able to measure it some way. And so at the highest level, it's either going to be measured by cost reductions, it's going to save you money in some way, or it's going to create value. So it's easier to measure cost reductions. It's a little bit more challenging to measure value creation, but value creation is usually where the bigger numbers can be found, because it's the difference between, oftentimes, if you met the customer's needs, you have a better chance of getting their business and it resulting in a sale. If you haven't met their needs, they're going to leave and go find something somewhere else, and you've lost the sale. But you can't really measure necessarily lost sales. You can only measure lost sales if the customer is engaged and then selected some other product for some other reason. But our value propositions are so the business case for transparency products are: one, they deliver an intentional customer experience or user experience, and the effect is to get greater customer satisfaction. Easy to find all your products with transparency information and delivered in a way that they can consume it. It's understandable, it's meaningful to inform decisions. Next value proposition: sales and marketing operations efficiency and effectiveness. So there's actually many more value propositions in this section. Transparency products make it easier and more effective to train sales folks. It makes it easier for your customer service or any people responding to customers to get them information because it's all in one place anyway. You know where it is. These transparency products get you more SEO. You can be building email campaigns around them, gives you a social media advantage, place to send people. The cost to put them together in terms of people and time are significantly reduced to create ultimately a better product. Because our process is well structured, it's prescribed how marketing, technical, and people who are delivering services and management can get together and make decisions. And we're using current content to integrate silos. Competitive advantage and risk reduction. Your continuous improvement story, or just your improvement story, becomes your competitive advantage beyond just having a disclosure. And also, with the transparency report and the material health overview, we're working with you to help eliminate the misinterpretation of results, which has really been a concern that we've heard from many manufacturers. By simply putting out disclosures with no interpretation, they definitely feel disadvantaged at how those results may skew perceptions. And then finally, the value proposition of building and managing a credibly greener and healthier brand. We like to say, take back your brand. A disclosure does not look like your brand. It looks like a disclosure from the rating system or the program operator who created it. So instead of taking a document that was intended for technical purposes and putting it out for market-facing purposes, you get to take that technical information and turn it into a market-facing document. And delivery. So who are Sustainable Minds Transparency products for? Specifically, the performance fact sheet has been designed for those early adopters who want to maintain an advantage and stay ahead in the marketplace and really be able to tell their stories in an integrated way. And then in general, they're for people who believe that better marketing helps sales. Or if you're a manufacturer who cares about leadership, innovation, and design, both of your products and your brand, then you care about presenting this information in a branded and well-designed way. And you're thinking holistically and longer term. How do we really integrate product transparency into the way we do business and managing customers' expectations? If you're a manufacturer who is actually making greener and healthier products than before, this is your opportunity to tell those stories. And if you care about providing useful and understandable information to help people make better informed decisions. Now, that might sound kind of sarcastic or maybe tongue-in-cheek, but I think a lot of folks have not, again, thought about it from the user's perspective beyond saying, well, people today, they just want to check a box, which may be true. But for those early adopters who want to deliver a great experience to customers who are discerning and really do want to choose better performing, greener and healthier products, then they need to provide information that helps them create preference for your products and in turn reward you by purchasing those products and help drive that continuous improvement cycle that ISO 14025 contemplated in the intent and what we all want to make happen in the world. So you're probably all thinking about, well, what do these things cost? I'll give you a quick overview of pricing. It's a component approach where each of the transparency products are a one-time cost, and the cost to create each one decreases when you do volumes. And remember, in the scoping process, we help you consider whether you're going to do a transparency report or a material health overview or a fact sheet for an individual product or a product family or even a product group. So you can see the performance fact sheet is designed to really be very low cost and again designed to use all of your existing disclosures, all of your existing content, and to be able to simply put those things together, get them up in your brand showroom, get it online. Those are one-time costs. You never pay for them again. We have a recurring cost, which is our subscription or platform fee. The first year is $10,000, so that includes all of the onboarding, the account setup, developing the brand attributes, so your showroom and your reports look like your brand. It's supporting you in developing your content strategy, actually building the brand showroom, getting your presence up, delivering sales training when it's done to any of the folks that you want to get up to speed. And we even include, for those of you doing transparency reports, a subscription of our eco-design and LCA software with your LCA data now in the software, so that your product teams can actually start modeling in design to see about making improvements. In subsequent years, the recurring cost for the platform fee is only $6,000, and it actually includes 10 hours for support to make content changes. If you want to change a case study, pictures, links to anywhere, that's all part of what that's for. And so, to wrap things up, we believe that product transparency builds credibly greener brands. But in order for people to make better informed decisions, it has to be more than just disclosures. Ultimately, understandable and meaningful information will create trust. Trust builds powerful brands, and powerful brands creates preference and value for their companies. So we're just at the top of our webinar hour, and I'm taking a look at the questions. And there actually are no questions that I haven't already answered. So we're going to finish on time, and there are a few questions as you exit that if you have a minute or two to respond, that'd be awesome. And if not, we look forward to hearing from you or following up with you in the very near future. So again, thanks for coming and spending an hour with us, and hope you like what you heard. We welcome all feedback, and go have a great day. Take care.